hello. It's me again. We returned from our break to get more doubles. Oh, I saw purple inkling and said, wait a minute. This isn't Grands. And it isn't. It's losers quarters. We get to see some Palldin and Z- a little more, see what kind of strut they can stuff. That was intentional, by the way. Anyway, Pac-Man and Luigi, we already know a couple of the flaws, but a couple of the strengths of this team might involve how Pac-Man sets up walls, and maybe while that seems contradictory in a doubles format, you're trying to work with your teammate. By setting up walls, you can separate the opponent and force a 2v1 just kind of instantaneously. Whether Palldin will do that or not, I'm unsure. But we see some up smashes coming out. Is he dead? No, he can go far. He went far enough. A couple up smashes from Z- though is able to separate the stocks from 6 to 4. It was just an announcement. An announcement from the TO. Lucas has some crazy air drift, and I do not like it. It's interesting to interact because of how he plays differently from Ness, and both of those characters just kind of lack lack landing lag sometimes. But we see some melon play coming out from Pac-Man. A good tool of Pac-Man, any sort of, like, what you can distinguish as a good Pac-Man player from a mediocre Pac-Man player is their setups. Because Melon travels slow enough to where if you throw it, you can run and catch it. Just full sprint, get that Melon out of the sky, and use it for a little bit more dynamic angles, floating straight up, floating straight down, like stuff like that. Meanwhile, Pac-Man's three-hit jab coming through. This is a really close. Well, I was gonna say it's a really close game, and it looks it on paper. But Palldin is showing the greatest strength of Pac-Man in doubles, that being stock tanking. And with how much damage and kill power Luigi just brings, it's like you're spotting someone with a rocket launcher. That's kind of how it goes. Everyone's targeting the rocket launcher, but there's also a second man there for defense. I don't know if that's a great reference, a great analogy, but you know what? It's the one I went for. All right, coming down. Yeah, there's gonna have to be a little bit more, I'll say, cheese coming out from blue team here, as with how much of a deficit there is, and while 3 of the stocks may be even, if they're able to cheese Luigi out of a stock, that forces a stock taking, and suddenly it's even. Uh-oh. The bill coming out and hitting, landing a free back air, and it seemed like Wavy was a little bit too fearful at that moment. A good up air in order to make the recovery. All right, Inkling with that, such a low percent, but 3 stocks to 1 is going to be a rough one to come back from, especially with Pac-Man, who can, like, this pace is going to stay incredibly slow. A lot of these back airs coming out. Avoiding the spring, but it's good to know that the spring is there, as he missed the punish. All right, the spring is no longer there, so you can no longer accept that as a tool that he could use. And he's going to spend a couple eternities on this ledge, but the rolling back, Pac-Man, Palldin, not covering the ledge option and choosing just a charge key instead. And Z kills his teammate with it. All right, so it's still a 2-to-1 situation, but now there's a little bit more volatile in it. Because suddenly, okay, well, never mind. A little bit more volatile for sure. But red team takes game 1. And this is still best of 3, mind you. It is still losers quarters. Quarters? Semis? Quarters. Losers quarters. Okay. We're going back to, not to PS2? Yes, to PS2. Okay, I guess there was a little bit of deliberation on what they wanted to do. Pac-Man, Luigi, pretty static. Ooh. Kelvin's talking on a walkie-talkie, by the way. Burp, burp, burp. I'm mimicking. I'm being facetious, is what I'm being. So apparently I'm going to get a co-commentator soon, TM. TM? No, that's M. M? I don't know sign language. I only kind of know sign language. As back to PS2 we go. It's a pretty standard stage. I mean, you wouldn't ban it as either of these characters because you get so much space in order to execute Luigi combos and break up the map. But this is kind of where Inkling flourishes, is that of being able to separate the two and take them for a spin in order to deal a whole bunch of damage. And with a different style of zone, it's almost like these are mirrors of the same team, which is an interesting dynamic of having someone that can run and gun and having someone that can hold down the fort. As that shield gets broken by a pair of up Bs, but good team dynamic in order to stop the shield from being broken. He ends up trying to go for the shield spike with the stage spike with the back air, but that did not come through. Both of these players are kind of really swinging now. Up throw, he just goes for the forward throw and scoops up Pac-Man in order to find the kill, but Lucas ends up SDing, I suppose, going deep for that back air, and Wavy kills his teammate. Okay, so a couple of bit of friendly fire gives red team the lead, as what they're really looking for is a way to even it up. But given how much damage Luigi can output just kind of spontaneously, the leads can really fall out of hand against a team like this, since you're not going to be able to take Pac-Man stock as easy as I say that, but you know, whatever. Oh, okay. So Hunk will be here shortly if you missed his voice, as the landing hitbox of Inkling's up B is able to mess up Palldin just a little bit. Landing fair, but doesn't get the dash. It doesn't get any sort of dash with it. So, you know how the meme started at chat or anyone, where everyone saw Inkling moving around, and it's like, oh, Inkling be schmoving. Wait, Lucas is out? What happened? Instantly taking the stock, but now you're down like 2 stocks to 4. You really need to get something going here. But this is an Inkling that is committing a little bit too hard to your first motion and not letting the dash dance take up more space. That's part of Inkling's bread and butter, is how much space she's able to take up by moving on the ground and how that converts to aerials. Good tech. As Wavy, again, like they're committing just a little bit too early to a lot of options that they're hoping will work. Hopefully you don't SD from that. He did die from that, though. It wasn't technically an SD with the fully charged Luigi missile, green missile, one of those. And now Wavy is going to have to take 3 stocks on his own, just like same a mirror of the first game, though with the other teammate this time. A lot more melon is what Palldin has been using instead of going for any of the other ones. I would like to see a little bit different item play, because he's charging it slow and getting strawberry, or he's going for melon or bell. He's keeping the bell there, but he's neglecting some of his traps, like with apple. Nor is he using hydrant. That's the word. Using hydrant at all, except for as just to place it down to do it. There it is. High amount of damage, but you know what? Lucas can sometimes just landing up air into a quick, what was that, like 25? 30? Yeah, the Pac-Man's recovery is really hard to get around, and the roll in, forfeiting a lot of pressure. Orange comes out and batters off the teammate. 163. Trading tether grabs as it seems. Shadows to Rope Snake. Good recovery, but he jumped. Z-, you know, sometimes it be like that. All right, and I believe that, since that was losers quarters, did the other match of losers... Yeah, so the other match of losers quarters... Wait, is it best of 5? No, right? Team battle. It's best of 3. Yeah, okay, so with that match of losers finals being it, with that being losers quarters, so then we're probably going to get up losers semis, which will be Z- and Palldin against someone.
Oh,
also,
guys, let's
that's still Xanax. That's not Hunk yet.
Let's check this out real quick.
Shadows to Rope Snake. That was, yeah.
Oh my
Good recovery,
God.
but he just get up attack. Granted, that gets you grabbed by Pac-Man, but oof.